about the technique or about the practice, about what we're doing when we're practicing meditation? Questions?
This is the first time I do the breathing exercise for such a long time.
Uh-huh.
You're doing like 1 or 2 minutes. And I physically felt the numbness here.
You feel what?
The numbness.
Numbness?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Is this normal?
Well, it's normal when you start to pay attention to notice things that have been there all along that you didn't notice because you weren't paying attention to the body, for example. One of the things that we're practicing when we're practicing meditation is being aware. Aware of what? Everything, starting with the body. That's why I say that during the time that you're sitting there practicing, a lot of people think that meditation means that you're going away somewhere. But that's opposite from the truth. The practice of meditation is not about going away. You're already away. It's about being here. It's about being present. So if you pay attention to the body, which you are doing when you're watching the body breathe, you will notice what's there. If you're paying attention to the body, you will notice what's there. If you feel an absence of sensation somewhere in your body, like numbness in some area of your body, right? At some point you may want to investigate that and look to see, what's that about? And the way you do that type of thing is after you have developed an ability to meditate successfully where you are able to relax the body and calm the mind sufficiently, right? Once you're able to do that, what you can do is let go of what you know and let go of the identity of the personality and just be in the experience of not knowing. Just be present with no information. Just be aware with no information. And then present yourself with the question, for example, if you're experiencing numbness here, then present yourself with the question, what is this about? What is this numbness about? And then let that go and just be in not knowing. And something may appear, some incident may appear when you were a child where somebody hit you in the chest, right? And in order to survive that, you had to turn off the sensation because it would have been overwhelming. I'm just making that up. But that's the kind of thing that people discover when you're awake and receptive and open to seeing what's happening in the body, to noticing where the tension is in the body, to notice whether or not the body is relaxed sufficiently so that the mind can calm down, because the mind-body is an interactive organism, mind-body, body-mind. So if the body's tense, the mind's, the mind is not. The mind is restless. If the body's tense, the mind is restless. If the mind is restless, the body's tense. So it's interactive. So we're looking to experience letting the body relax and letting the mind calm down. And the way we let the mind calm down is just to not be involved. Just log off the website called the mind. Log off the website called the mind. And just be in the emptiness of awareness itself. Sitting, being relaxed, letting the body relax. So if the mind calms down and the body relaxes sufficiently, what has always been there seems to appear. What has always been there seems to appear. Why does it seem to appear? When your attention isn't necessary to do something practical and realistic, it goes back into the default state. And the default state is the voice in your head thinking about you and your relationship to your life, thinking about you and your relationship to your body, you and your relationship to other people, you and your relationship to time, you in relationship to your birth, you in relationship to your death. This is the default state, constant preoccupation with ourselves. Constant preoccupation with ourselves. And yet at the same time, what we're up to through the practice of meditation and through the teachings that we're studying along with the practice of meditation, what we're up to is getting free. Getting free from what? getting free from the limited experience we're having of life and ourselves that's given by the voice in our head, that's given by the activity of the mind. So what we're discovering through meditation is that we have been living our life in a very limited space, in a very limited time, with a very limited identity called the body and the personality. And within that very limited space, the space I'm referring to is the space of your mental activity, what you think, the world of what you think. And in the world of what you think, you're a separate self. In the world of what you think, you're separate from the rest of humanity, you're separate from life, you're separate from the world. And so in the world of what you think, you're living this life as a separate self, and therefore you have to be careful because there's 8 billion other separate selves, and their agenda is the same as yours, to get as much as you can in this world in order to be happy, because what they've taught us all is happiness is a function of getting what you want. So we're all playing that game in competition with one another, and because that's the case, and because people are willing to kill each other to get the prize, people are willing to kill each other to pursue happiness. So you find yourself in that predicament, you find yourself in that situation, and it produces anxiety, it produces nervousness, it produces a mild mental condition called neurosis, in which you are preoccupied with yourself, in which you, because of your preoccupation with yourself, right, you experienced a lot of delusional thoughts, paranoid thoughts. And as they always say, just because you're paranoid, that doesn't mean that nobody's out to get you. You can, in the world we live in, you can count on that somebody's out to get you, even if you don't know who they are. So if it's true that you're a separate self and you live in a body that's separate from the rest of the 8 billion people, then your fear is legitimate, isn't it? I mean, shouldn't you be afraid if you have this universe to deal with every day when you wake up? And shouldn't you be afraid if you have 8 billion people that you have to be participate with every single day, many of whom have agendas that don't include you? Many of whom have agendas that would be very happy to see you be eliminated from the game so there was more for them. And that's true. That's the world we're living in. Watch the news. Right? But the reality of it is, and the reason we practiced meditation and studied these teachings is because in truth, capital T truth, it is simply not the case that you are a separate self. This is called non-duality. If you're not separate from other people, and if you're not separate from the universe, if you're not separate from the world, then what is the case? Well, the case is you and the world are part of the same thing. You're just the same as a plant. You know, if you have a plant in your home, that plant is breathing. It's taking in oxygen and it's taking in oxygen. It's taking in CO2 and breathing out oxygen. So the plant life on the planet is producing the oxygen we need to live. So we're in a relationship with everything else. So we're not a separate self. If you think you're a separate self, stop breathing. You must be involved with the environment around you every single day. You're breathing in the air, you're eating the food. The food is going through the tube, you're a flesh tube. Food goes through the tube in one orifice, out another orifice. It does it by itself all the time. But we're not having any fun. You know, we're in this predicament that we find ourselves in as a separate self, but it's not a fun story because it has a tragic ending, right? You disappear in the end. And between now and then, you have to deal with the circumstances all the time. Getting food, getting money, putting up with people, getting along with people, taking care of your body, dealing with the inevitables like aging through time. The body gets old, the body gets sick, the body dies. In the meantime, everything that's happening is unpredictable. Anything can happen at any time. How the hell do you relax in that situation? Well, in today's world, the way you relax is to get prescriptions, right? Just take chemicals that tranquilize the nervous system, you know, so you can dull out. You can dull out and not feel anything and not be available. Well, that's not that much fun either, right? So you can be tranquilized, but still be depressed because you're so tranquilized, there's no excitement in your life. So then you have to take another medication for that, right? Before you know it, you have a lot of medication going on and you're suffering from side effects. That's a very typical human life, right? People spend a lot of their waking time taking medication to tranquilize the nervous system, watch TV so you can distract yourself, right? Preoccupy yourself with pleasurable experiences like alcohol, or preoccupy yourself with other kinds of pleasurable experiences like bungee jumping or, you know, whatever. Just keep busy. Just keep your attention busy so you don't have to realize the truth. Just stay distracted so you don't have to pay attention to the truth. Right? Why? Because according to the understanding that the human being has, according to the personality, the truth is a disaster. The truth is a disaster because if the truth is that I'm separate from all the rest of humanity and I'm separate from life and I'm going to die, I don't want to pay much attention to that. If I allow myself to pay attention to that every single day, right, it'll ruin my life. I'll be miserable all the time. And yet the interesting thing about this is that what people do instead is they occupy themselves as much as possible with distractions and medications, right, so they can avoid the experience of being alive. Did I just say that? That sounds crazy, doesn't it? You know, why would you be in a situation where life is available to experience and yet your greatest commitment is to avoid that? And that's the case. If you look at human behavior, human beings go out of their way big time to avoid being awake and alive. Because the way they got to figure it out, being awake and alive is a very unhappy, uncomfortable experience. And so people are desperately seeking to have an experience that will allow them to be happy, satisfied, peaceful. And it's not available under ordinary situations. It's just not available, you know. So it's something that we keep pursuing happiness, pursuing peace, pursuing well-being, pursuing workable relationships with other human beings. We keep working on that project, and there are minor improvements here and there, but generally speaking, the whole situation is a mess. So is that it? Is that all there is? Well, we can benefit from the experience that other people had in other traditions that go back thousands of years. We can benefit from what they discovered, and what they discovered is if you sit still and you move your attention away from the thought activity, something starts to become available that wasn't available. If I get the body relaxed enough and the mind calm enough, something is there that I wasn't seeing. A personality and not a physical body, but this awareness that has no form. Not only does it have no form, but this awareness that has no form, when I'm experiencing being this awareness without thought, there is an. So this is a possibility that we discover in meditation, and we discover that this possibility is available all the time. You know, so we've had to practice meditation to calm down enough and relax the body enough to be able to begin to be aware of it. But now that we are aware of it, the practice is to pay attention to it as consistently as possible. Yeah.
You talked about wisdom. So does wisdom come from learning, or does it come from calming the mind and relaxing the body, or kind of a combination?
Wisdom is what you are.